Right, so we have the join head unit right here. This is a universal head unit, and what's special about this one is it's 720p. So I have not seen a 720p display on the Android head units. Now you would think that would come hand in hand, but it hasn't. We're gonna put this massive 10-inch screen into a small car. You guys probably know about this car. It's the Subaru BRZ. So we'll give you a good example of how it's gonna look on a small car. Of course, you know, you have the vents and all that stuff, and will it, you know, obstruct it? So that's gonna be really interesting. Let's do the unboxing right now. With one hand, boom. Join has always been known for its small packaging, but really efficient. So they make good of the space. You have a bunch of installation guides and what each does. I really appreciate the colors, because this is not like some cheap manual. They actually show you colors, and that's really important. Greeting card, user manual. All right, get to the meat and bones. Now they're gonna have the display on its own little box again to keep the packaging efficient. We're gonna open that in a second, because that's actually the really cool part of it. And now you have this one right here. Of course, that might be the face of it, like the real cool 720p display that I haven't seen before. But then you got the regular meat and potatoes, the join head unit with all of its guts and glory. Remember, the join head unit uses an Intel based processor, one of the fastest I've seen. And this and the PX6 are really nice. They're really up there. So the PX6 or the Join's Intel processor, you can't go wrong. Now, looking at here, you had the SPDIF still, which is big. You had the GPS, and then I believe this is going to be the cellular antenna. On top of that, you also have the SIM card slot right here. It says push. So there you go. You have the slims. If you want Spotify, Waze, Google Maps, and other things that requires a data connection, you have that right there, which is kind of cool. You could always also use Google offline maps too, so you don't need a SIM card, but it's nice that it's already there without any adapters. Now moving on to the unboxing process, we want to keep going. The usual, you have your Wi-Fi plug, which is definitely, or this could be the cellular. This looks like the GPS antenna. Extra clips for the screen to mount on, as well as some brackets and a microphone, an external microphone. Then you have a regular harness. This is like your typical universal harness. I don't know how well that's picking up, but it's kind of like you buy, let's say, a Toyota side, or you know, Chevy side, or you know, other side, and then you'll just kind of match the wires together. That's not too bad. And then you have another universal kind of thing too, that if this socket fits and stuff like that. But yeah, let's check out that display, because that is the main showstopper. I like it how it's labeled LCD. We have the good foam. Always want to have the good foam. No styrofoam please, but just hook it up with the good foam. So we got that going for it, and then we have the extra clips, which is nice. Moving on forth, we have the display. If I can get to it, it looks like a massive 10-inch display, so that's gonna be great. All right, so I had to kind of, the clips were kind of holding it, so I wanted to get most of it out so I can keep using one hand to do most of this. But yeah, here's the screen. Now again, with the join units, you have a really nice, I really like their design, because the front's made of glass, but the sides are made with this kind of the last one was made out of metal, so let's see what this one was. That 8-inch, but it looks like it's still metal. I don't know, it's like a real highly quality plastic. It kind of feels like plastic, but it's finished really nicely. And then you have that polished lip. That's what I was really talking about. Oh man, that looks good. See if I can get you a good angle of that finish. All right, so we have the head unit. This one is a good one. I'll also put the link below, but we're gonna swap this one out for the joining model, which is the screen's massive, so that's gonna be interesting on how we're gonna deal with these vents and so forth, whether these vents are gonna just remain closed and just have these vents blow, whether it's gonna just shoot up and just kind of, you know, filter that way and diffuse. But we're just gonna see how it's gonna play out. So the first thing you want to do with any head unit is what?
Remove the dash.
How do you remove the dash?
Get the tool and just pry this out and then start installing.
Pull it out.
I have the tool.
You don't need a tool. Alright, I'll just do it. Alright, so we have that. Then generally you'll have these screws exposed. So we're gonna need Phillips. Generally, sometimes it's going to be a 10 millimeter too. So have your tools ready. Tell her to get me a screwdriver. Let me see what screwdriver you brought. Oh my gosh. All right, go ahead and start unscrewing that.
Spread in some towels so that when we take off the head unit, it's not going to scratch anything.
Your car's manual. You want to clutch down and put this in, like, you know, 4th gear. All right, so yeah, pull that bad boy. Watch out, watch those sharp brackets. Now you want to unscrew all these plugs that's on the back of your original head unit, the one you're replacing. So let's get to that. So we just unplugged the antenna. This is like a FM tuner, as well as you're gonna get a bunch of unplug everything. Your OEM head unit's gonna have different plugs. Your aftermarket one's gonna be good. Right, so we removed the head unit just by unplugging everything. Then, yeah, we're gonna just put it on the ground. I don't know, that's a good idea.
So these wires, we're just gonna try to match them with these. A little jumbled up, but anything with the foam pieces, we'll just match it into these and try to get them all plugged in and ready to go.
So let's try to match them up. So this one is going to be the radio. So find something that's similar to that one. Looks like 2 circles. That looks good. And you match it up. Now what's nice about these harnesses is there's foam, so that should help with rattling and, you know, dampen some of that plastic on plastic sound. Should just click and right in there. So we just plugged in the radio, the 6-pin, the 28-pin, which usually, it depends on what car you have, because remember this is a universal head unit. So you try to accommodate everything. All right, so we have most of the main stuff in there, and on this side, it's gonna be this side right here. The only thing you have to plug in, if you can hold this, the only thing you guys have to plug in is, there's a few things actually. You want your radio to be on, so that's important. Not radio, but radio antenna for like FM. This is where the magic happens, so you want to plug that in. This is gonna be this might spark. We'll see. Oh, now for us is to see if it even turns on, and you kind of want the bare minimums to see if it works. Watch out! These doors, they just close. They could chop off your leg.
It's like Final Destination up in here.
Quick, this unit is the 10-inch or whatever, 10.6, 11-inch or something. Oh man, this is heavy. So it is for this one right here. So I just wanted to show you guys kind of how, like, wow, that's cool. Surprising. I'm actually kind of shocked. That's sick. But a more better fitment for this car specifically, this is an 8-inch. Now this is an 8-inch off of a different unit, but this would be a size that's probably going to be better for the car, this 8-inch right here. So you have an 8-inch, and then you have a 10-inch. And then you can see the difference in display size right there. So give or take. We're doing the 10-inch. Because this is the one with 720p, which is exciting. Okay, so let's turn the car on. Whoa, we get power. That's awesome. Let's close the door so it doesn't beep. So we do have the head unit, and look at that 720p greatness. I can definitely tell that the quality is just up there. Can you notice that the sharpness is just, it's tack sharp. One of the first things I like to do is get rid of that beeping sound, and it's generally found in sound. Ketone off. Now with this, with the joining head units, you're gonna have, well, we know volume works, so that's great because we just heard sound. But with the with this stuff, it's nice because you have its own UI, so it looks very professional. Yeah, maybe we should try some songs. Let's hook up a Bluetooth real quick. We want to test up the essentials, and the essentials would definitely be, one of them would be Bluetooth. Let's search for this thing, and hopefully we will get something good. The back and forth has got so we do have audio going off. So something with this car specifically, this does have a factory amp, and because it has a factory amp, like my car has a factory amp, like the premium amp, the Subaru WRX, and no sound played if your amp wasn't turned on. In this car, if you have an 8.6 BRZ, you know, Scion, whatever, and maybe in your case with your like Chevy or anything, these door speakers, these 6.5 inches, they have its own amp, and right now I can tell right off the bat there's no bass because that amp is not turned on. So if you have these cars, make sure like all these speakers work. Like if you don't have bass or something, that's weird. You want to make sure you turn on the factory amp. We want to move forward, and we see all this good stuff. We want to hook up to Wi-Fi. We can probably change the background. This head unit does come with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and a host of other things. This thing's loaded to the gill. Remember, this is like cream of the crop. So I hate this button right here, so I usually just take that out. I don't know why it's there, but I like to take that out. But yeah, so remember, this is a huge milestone. So if you're at this level and you get this far, you should be very happy. But let's move on to get more of the accessories like Wi-Fi, GPS. We want to get that amp turned on because that amp is not on right now. That's why the bottom speakers, they like to call it subs, because I don't know, the bottom speakers aren't playing, but the tweeters are, and that's a problem. You know, we don't want we want some actual bass. So, all right, something that I didn't check is the reverse camera. That's obviously very important. So let's check that. Okay, so we're gonna check if the car, to have your car, make sure your car is on. Watch out your legs because the car is bagged. So we have air suspension. When we turn the car on, it lifts. If the reverse is working. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not gonna work. You want to throw your car in reverse and nothing. If you see something like this, that means you don't even have any signal. What that is there's a wire in the back of the harness that tells your car when it's in reverse. So the head unit doesn't even recognize that there's anything in reverse right now. Now we want to have we have to locate the reverse wire. In the back of this head unit right here, it says back. Now obviously, hey, look at that, it's not even wired. So we want to make it so when the car is in reverse, it fires a signal to the head unit. So even if I just put, like, I don't know, some kind of power right now, it would say, hey, the car's in reverse. As long as it gets any power, you want it to turn on, right? Of course, you don't want to just have it always on. That means it's always thinking that's in reverse. So OEM harnesses, in the back, you want to look at your manual on your whatever car you have, like let's say you have a Kia. You want to look for that kind of reverse trigger wire. And once you find that reverse trigger wire, you should be able to fire it up. All right, so the harness that I got from Joing doesn't have any pins that can line up to this pin right here. And long story short, I'm just gonna splice into the OEM harness. This is basically a 6 volts. So it's telling the camera 6 volts. So we're Gucci there. We're gonna just wire it so the camera fires up, gets power, and then we also have to ground it. So we're gonna have the appropriate ground on that too, and also the reverse signal wire, which is in this case gonna be this one right here. So we're just gonna splice in these 2 wires and we're gonna be good to go. All right, so I have the wiring done. Let me just talk about it real quick. It's gonna depend on your car. So we have the reverse trigger on wire 2. Then we have this is not easy. The reverse camera part is gonna be the most technical part of the install. But long story short, because like honestly, I have a Frankenstein right now. I have the video signal is coming out of these 2 wires, and these 2 wires are going to the backup camera, the review. So yeah, that's it. So there's these camera wires, and then you have the ground too that go with it. I pretty much Frankenstein everything. So the reverse camera is not easy, but I have it working because depending on your car, you have the camera signal, you have the reverse trigger, and then the camera video. So if you throw this car in reverse, you're gonna now see a camera feed, which is nice. That's exactly what you want to see. You can add the you can even add, like, make it more saturated and stuff and brighter. That's kind of cool, depending on what you want to see. But you can add those little like warning label things after the fact too. So that's definitely nice. And when you throw it out of reverse, it goes back to this. Yeah, that took a lot longer than I thought it would. But yeah, the reverse camera, the reverse signal. Remember, we did the trigger first, and then we wired the camera, and that's gonna be through the rear view camera in right here on the back of this unit. So let's wrap it up, put some brackets up, of course, put some electric tape, kind of finalize things, and then give it a few runs. So the next part, I'm gonna go pretty fast because it's getting kind of dark. So you can see we cleaned up things pretty nicely. You want to tuck in all the wires in the back. The only ones you need really are this main harness, and then you have the radio. Everything else can be tucked on this side. We have the mounting things on. There's a lot of accessories. So even on the back of this, it looks pretty gnarly, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, so we're just gonna pop this back in there. Make sure your Wi-Fi and GPS and cellular or whatever is in, but we're just gonna be plugging these two and just slowly mount it in like this. Wrapping it up. We have this, you want to install it with the screen off because the screen will be way too massive. And everything's bolted on there. We're getting to that point when I want to make sure the screen's on in the correct orientation. Now, from what you tell, you can actually move these clips. So we could get it to fit. So if we move, like we can move it one level higher, if you guys can see that, if it is blocking the vents. But honestly, it's not really, so we're kind of good there. Just feed this ribbon cable. Like, look at that. It, maybe you want to keep it like this?
Wow, it's perfect.
It is, maybe if we moved it a millimeter down, but then you'll block the clock.
Yeah, I don't want to block. See, look.
So we can move this whole thing down, or that thing is looking like a Tesla Model 3. Oh, look at this screen! It's beautiful. And remember, guys, we can actually adjust this a millimeter lower, but yeah, it looks good right here. I can adjust it a little bit lower with the 2 pins, making it go down a smidge bit lower. But man, that is looking good. Wrapping things up here. The head unit is looking great. I mean, geez, I'm gonna actually just leave the car on. You definitely want to leave your car on for a bit because the battery, we've been working on it, and we went from pretty much, this is a 7-inch screen, which is nice. This is nice. It's definitely a step up from the OEM unit. Here is a 7-inch, this is an 8-inch, and then you have a 10-inch. And I mean, for me, just having a big ass screen is just like, it's just something to be had. So I think you guys be very happy with this. Oh man, look at that. Let me get some B-roll.